Hey, everybody, fantastic episode today with my good friend Eric. We're going to talk about all things crypto, NFT, Web3, and some of the projects that he's working on, which include a dating app that is going to be integrated through AI, connected to your social media. It's going to go out, search your various algorithms, your Spotify's, your YouTube's, your Instagram, and it's going to connect you with a partner that's more appropriate to who you'd be looking for than instead of the old hot or not that we've been doing for so long. So a lot of fun. Everybody out there, appreciate you. I heard recently not to give your followers too many instructions, so I'm going to give you just one. Go in and follow us on whatever your favorite podcast listening application is. Spotify, Apple, Audible, Google, those places. Give us a follow so that you can see when new episodes come out. No other instructions, just one, everybody. Thanks and enjoy this. Eric, good afternoon. What's happening, brother?
Hey Alexander, nothing much, just chilling. And dude, thank you so much for having me. I'm really grateful.
I appreciate you coming on, man. I'm really excited to have this conversation. You do a variety of different interesting things, and I'm hoping I can learn more about them. But why don't you just give me a little intro about yourself, and then we can kind of go from there.
Sure, it's nice to meet everyone. My name is Eric, 31 years old, blessed to be living in beautiful Southern California. My main hobbies are chess, Muay Thai, meditation, reading, and as much sun as I could possibly get. I just got back from a 10-day Vipassana meditation retreat in Joshua Tree, California, which was actually that was one of the most beautiful transformative experiences I've ever done. So if that interests you at all, check it out. I'm working on a couple companies right now. One is a Web3 e-commerce platform, and the other is a AI-powered matchmaking service. I believe that I believe in authenticity, so I'm the number one me in the world. If you try to be me, you can't beat me at being me. But on the flip side, if I try to be you, I can't beat you at being you. And I also think people are happiest when they're serving other people. So if logically you want to serve as many people as possible, the only way to do that is to follow your authenticity and natural gifts and intellectual curiosity and see where that lands. And for me, it just landed at those two companies. So trying to leave a positive impact on the world.
You know what's funny is my booker, she sent you over like, hey, what do you think about this guest? And the first thing I saw was, oh, he does Muay Thai. Like, oh,
Yeah.
we'll connect on that.
Oh, nice. Did you try?
Yeah, I started doing Muay Thai this year. I did jujitsu, and what they tell you is that jujitsu's addictive, man. It's so fun. It's like so addictive. I did it, and I was like, this sucks. Like,
Yeah.
I'm not having fun doing this. And whatever, maybe like my coaching wasn't great, and I was at like a pretty serious gym, which you don't really know how serious the gym is like before you actually get into the martial arts world. What I've come to understand is there's like hobby gyms, and then there's like
Oh, no.
more serious gyms where guys are like, I'm gonna get good and I'm gonna go do fights. And I was at one of those gyms doing jujitsu, and people were like, "Oh yeah, that one's pretty intense. Like that's a pretty like hard place to start." So that wasn't that fun. So I started Muay Thai. I mean, I played soccer, so I'm a ex-collegiate soccer player. So kicked a little bit. I was like, this will be more fun. And dude, it's like 10 times more fun for me. Maybe people enjoy jiu-jitsu more, but it's been so much better for me.
Nah, dude, I'm the same way too. It's like I tried jujitsu once so I'm at a serious gym too. It's like Black House, so like it's one of those gyms where there are people training to make it their livelihood. So I tried jujitsu once. I'm just like, get off me. Where it's like I'd much rather just punch the bag, kick the bag. I like striking more too.
Well, that's the
So
big thing. You can strike on a bag alone and
yeah,
get better. But jiu-jitsu, it's like I can't really do this alone. There's almost like they have like those weird dummies that you like roll around with.
yeah.
I was
Just
like,
like,
are you actually getting better doing this? This seems weird. Um,
and of course there's a healthy jujitsu Muay Thai rivalry. Like I have friends in the gym, and we always obviously we make fun of jujitsu guys for being gay, and it
yeah,
is what it
yeah,
is. Like
that
you
is
can't avoid it.
yeah, that is definitely the common joke out there. But hey, they're tough. I wouldn't want to get into a wrestling match with one of them. How long you been doing that, brother?
5, 6 years casually.
Okay.
So it's not like I'm fully serious, but it's part of my routine. It's part of my habits that have been built in. It's been one of the best things I personally added. So it's
Hmm.
it's enjoyable. So it's my afternoon anchor.
I got you. So are you, when you say your afternoon anchor, are you going to a class every day, or are you just like, I'm going to hit the bag a little bit on a regular basis? What does that look like?
So in the morning, because I work for I have two different companies, and I probably have some ADHD. So I have my morning anchor, my afternoon anchor. I wake up at 4:20 because I find it funny. I meditate for a bit, set my intention for the day, go to the gym, come home, and then like whatever stuff I have to do for the companies. Like it's like Calendly based, where you're just like, I'm on this call, I'm on this call, I'm on this call, I'm on this call. And there's the gym I go to, Black House, Redondo Beach. They have classes every day, Monday through Friday, one from 6 to 7 and one from 7 to 8. So I'm making my intention to hit as many classes during the week as I can, because like it keeps me on point. Like if I have a bad lunch, I'll likely get hit more. And the important thing is, when I'm at the gym, it forces me back into the present moment. So like if I go to the gym, I'm carrying work stress or whatever the case may be. If I miss focus or not paying attention, I'll get hit. I'm like, okay, this is dumb. It's time to focus. Or I can't hold the pads properly for my partner. I'm like, oh, I'm sorry, that's rude of me. Let me focus again. And it's just a good group of guys.
Well, yeah, I mean, if you're going, pretty regularly, I imagine your level increases pretty fast. I'm making my best effort 3 times a week. The gym I go to only has Muay Thai 3 times a week.
Yeah.
So I do that. Like, if I was super dedicated, sure, I could probably go find a boxing gym and then, like, supplement that. And then I told you we're building a new facility. And my only request was, like, give me a space so I can put a gym. We have a gym here at this facility, but it's small. It's like 200 square feet, which is good. You have your rack. Yeah, you got your dumbbells up to like 70s. We got a reverse hyper. We got plates and benches, but the new space is going to be like 1,500 square feet. So I'm going to have a mat. We'll have a heavy bag. Like, we'll have all the decked out equipment. Because the guys, a lot of them are golfers, and they're like, Alex, we really want a golf simulator. And I'm like, that's cool. Just give me a matching gym budget. And those golf simulators are like pretty damn expensive. So I'm not much of a golfer, so I was like, all right, as long as I get a matching gym budget, which I'm getting. So, yeah, man, it should be good. We'll get you out here, man. We'll get on the mat. We'll hit the gym.
That'll be fun. And, you want that deal. And, dude, I love that you're really into fitness, because having fitness as your... Because I've been going to, like, the gym casually early high school, so, like, having that as a base in your existence, I think it's one of the most important things. Like, you can't properly serve people if you're fat and out of shape. You can't be in the right mindset if you're not physically fit, so...
I think that is becoming more part of the zeitgeist. It's just such a gateway drug, in my personal opinion, to, like, personal growth. Like, my one buddy, I love him to death, but he, like, didn't really work out. And it's the classic story. Like, girlfriend broke up with him, said some mean stuff to him, and he's like, all right, like, I got to be better. So now he's, like, lifting. He's actually gotten, like, pretty strong pretty fast. I'm like, all right, whatever. And he's like reading. He's like, I got to improve my business. And it's just like such a gateway drug. And maybe all those things just kind of came together at once. But to me, it's hard to imagine someone who seriously cares about their fitness and their health and just totally doesn't give a shit about, like, their business or their relationships or their intellect. And, like, how often do you see this? Like, it's kind of, chicken and egg problem, but, like, you'll see this guy, he's big, he's handsome, he's jacked, and he makes like $200,000 a year. And you're like, what's going on here? Like, this guy's got it all. And it's just maybe one of those things where it's like, well, I care about my fitness, I care about my appearance, I care about my health, I care about pushing myself forward, like I care about going out and getting, sales in my job and my work. And it's sort of just cyclical. I find it hard to believe you can care a lot about your health, wellness, and fitness and then just perform poorly in other areas of your life.
No, I agree, man. I think the biggest reason for that is it shows discipline. If you're disciplined in the gym, you're disciplined in your sales, you're disciplined in your relationships, odds are you're putting yourself in position to succeed in different areas of life. Mm-hmm. And it does spread. Like, it's hard to win, because, like, there's positive timelines and negative timelines. It's like you're winning at the gym, you're going to win at sales, you're going to win at life, you're going to get the good girl, you're going to get the good family. Whereas if you're fat out of shape, that's what, like, you just wake up, you feel bad, then you create your own reality based on that. So
what do you mean by a positive timeline and a negative timeline?
So I believe in the quantum theory. I think that there's an infinite number of possibilities happening right now, and whatever we're paying attention to is the reality we're experiencing. So to go back, like, I think of everything in terms of energy, frequency, vibration. So when you're saying, like, I'm feeling X emotion, you're saying I'm vibrating at this frequency. So you're saying, like, I'm angry, I'm loving, I'm peaceful, I'm joyful, I'm vibrating at specific frequencies. And just like a radio station, when you're on that frequency, you turn to that station, you get that specific station. When you're in that emotional state, you're on that frequency, and you're more likely to attract the person who's at the similar emotional state. So that's why it's so important to, like, go out in the world trying to help people, being positive, being loving, being helpful. Because if you're like that, you attract those type of people, and your life just gets much better. So in terms of timelines, it's like I believe in absolute cause and effect. I think everything that's happening in my life there's a cause and the cause is related to me. So like, for example, timeline after this podcast, it can go one of two ways. I can go for a walk. I can grab a drink. The walk is the more positive one. I come back, I read, I meditate, I go to sleep on time. I wake up refreshed for the day. I do some work that I need to do. Or the negative timeline is I go, I have that beer. Okay, well, I had a beer. Well, let's go with beer. Let's grab some pizza. Well, I can't eat pizza without watching like some Netflix, and I'm on the Netflix timeline. So it's just a bunch of micro changes like that, where it's like, okay, let's pick the one that puts you on the more positive path.
Tell me a little bit about the companies that you're a part of. You just kind of casually said you're a part of 2 different businesses. I've been part of more than one company at a time. It's a difficult thing to do, and I don't envy you because it's a challenge.
I don't know, man. I find it really fun, to be honest, because it's what I like to do. So I've done it for free for a while. I'm obviously not doing it for free now, but like I would do it for free even if I weren't doing it. So the 2 companies I'm part of are ShopX and Data. ShopX is a Web3 e-commerce platform. So if you're a brand on Shopify, you can download our app and then you can interact within the Web3 space. Like you can launch NFT contracts with e-commerce utility. You can tokenize products. You can do a bunch of things. And Data, it's the first ever AI-powered matchmaking service. How they relate is I was on a crypto podcast tour a while back. After the show, I thought the host was really chill. We kept in touch on Instagram and all that stuff and became kind of digital friends. And then this random AI thing on Twitter started following me. I'm like, oh, what's this? It's like, oh, my name is Mark. Oh, this is Mark. I'm thinking about building this AI matchmaker. And I'm like, okay, well, first of all, that's funny. It helps people. Dating apps suck. So I've been building both of those simultaneously. And it's cool because there are different like levels of startups. So like, and they help each other too. It's like I learned something for ShopX. I applied for dating. I learned something dating. I applied for ShopX. Having a good name in the AI field helps with like crypto people and like, oh, look at this project, and they find me like, oh, this guy's involved in AI and vice versa.
All right, talk to me about this dating company. So what does that fundamentally look like? Like how do you even begin that process? Because brother, I got a phone full of ideas. I got so many business ideas. It's one of my things that I'm very big advocate about is if you have a business idea, write it down, put it in your notes. Just like get it in there, and I think it helps get your creative juices going for the next business idea. Once you start writing them down, they don't just kind of come in one ear and go out the other. So you have this idea, but how do you actually begin to take that into reality?
Yeah, I agree with you in terms of writing it down, because like that's the first step from producing. Because everything that's ever been created starts as a thought, and oftentimes the best thing to do if you want to start a business is literally just start. So I often tell people like, oh, you're thinking of starting a business, create a Google Drive, fill out the folders, and they'll fill out themselves. You'll be like, oh, I have a marketing folder. What goes in here? Oh, I need a social media accounts in my marketing folder. Well, I don't have those. Let me create those. And you create the accounts. So like the writing is actually, to your point, I think that's the first step that needs to be taken. So
step one, right? Like,
yeah,
okay,
yeah.
I've actually taken a step towards starting this. I'm one step closer. You're still a lot of steps away, but you're one step closer.
Yeah, but when the path tends to appear like itself once you actually take the first step. But the dating app, so it's the first ever AI-powered matchmaking service, and the 3 big issues with dating apps I see right now are the first is the top 5. If you think of it like a marketplace, the top 5% of users on the app are pretty much cleaning house, creating like a skewed marketplace. It's hot or not. So like, let's be real. You got on Tinder, you swipe left, you swipe right. You're basically just looking at someone's face. Do I find them attractive? Yes or no? And that results in the swipe. And the third and most interesting issue is the incentive structure of the dating app. So if I were on Tinder, every time Tinder matches a happy couple, this results in it should result in the happy couple leaving the app. This results in Tinder losing a paying customer, so they rely on churn marketing to keep people on like a Ferris wheel type thing. So they want people downloading the app, deleting the app, downloading the app, deleting the app, and doing that whole process. Where what dating does is we auto-generate digital dating profiles based on your social media accounts, and then create matches based on their digital profile created by the other person's social media account. So I get 3 matches. It's like, okay, Ashley, Kimberly, Jane. Jane seems cool. And then I get a nice little AI summary of Jane. I'm like, okay, that's cool. It's like Jane connected her Facebook. She's the youngest, you're our oldest. Our pattern recognition software says that works well. Great. You connected her Instagram. You both go to a bunch of national parks. Great. You connected your Twitter. You like and follow the same type of Twitter content. Great. Oh, you both connected your Apple Music. Oh, did you know you both follow this one random artist? They have a show coming up in a month. Would you like me to suggest a date with Jane? Jen gets a notification from me. She sees my like AI based profile. And the cool thing is, something we're working on is too, since AI is creating the profiles, we're going to help guys highlight stuff that they actually should highlight, like helping them put their best foot forward, because guys need help with that. And it's like, so it's going to help with that. She's like, okay, Eric seems cool. We go on that date, we fall in love, we get married, and then from there, our AI can work as a relationship butler. So we, okay, you guys haven't been on a date in 3 months. The place you had your second date has a half off ice cream. Would you like me to make reservations? Great. Or it's like, okay, well, Jane's birthday's coming up. She just added this thing to her Pinterest board. It might make a good gift. So that's where the incentive structure shifts. It's like, we want people to go on good dates, because if you like our app, you like our products and services, you're paying for a date within our app, then we will get a commission. So we're incentivized to create as many dates as possible.
Okay, so that's how you're monetizing this, is like you're paying per date. Is that how that kind of works?
So there are 3 ways we're thinking of monetizing it. So we're in really early stages. We're aiming for a February 14th launch in Los Angeles, just because, well, it's Valentine's Day, and like, I don't know, it's kind of, we're just copying the Uber model. Like, you can't be matching people in LA and New York and San Fran. It's just like,
right. Start
what's
small.
the point?
One market.
Yeah, so we're going to do one market, go city by city. We're going to do the date monetization, meaning you can pay, like if you pay for a date within our app, like you book tickets, you work through Ticketmaster, we're building out the integrations, then we will get a commission based on that.
Okay.
We're still building out our tiered system, so like just like other dating apps, higher tiers, you pay a monthly fee, you'll get obviously more access on the app. And of course, since we are a dating app, obviously we have a lot of brands who are interested in working with us once we get users, because we'll have a big user base of users who are actively on the profile, actively on the app, creating like some sort of attention section, and I could probably sell stuff to them.
So one quick question. Hinge, what they would do is something similar to what you're talking about, where you can pay to get like bonus swipes or super swipes or something like that, roses, something like that. But I saw someone tweet and I was like, yeah, that's super accurate. It's like a joke. Like, Hinge shows you the people that are way out of your league and makes you reach out to them in the most embarrassing way that just proves that like there's no shot, right? Because it's like they show you these like whatever, these 10 out of 10 profiles. You get like 5 of these like really attractive other people like per day or whatever it is. And then like the only way you can reach out to them is if like you use your rose, which you get very few of, or you like pay to get a super swipe, which is like so embarrassing that it's like I have to pay to get dates.
Yeah.
Like how do you think about that process?
I know, I agree 100% completely with that. So if like, imagine from the girl's perspective, she's getting bombarded with messages. She gets a message from Rose. It's like, okay, that's sweet, but I don't know this guy at all. We're not equals. He has to pay to go on a date with me. It just puts you at a lower footing, which is just
desperate. Somewhere in the continuum between sweet and desperate.
Yeah, it depends on your looks at that point.
Right.
It's like if you're out a guy, it's sweet, but if you're just a normal dude, it's desperate. So
that's the difference between sexual harassment and approaching a girl is just like how attractive are you, right?
Yeah, no, so I agree with that, and I think the system should be self-balancing in the sense it's going to match you with your appropriate level of person. And something I see in the dating market that I personally want to fix is it's just not balanced right now. Because like what's happening right now is the 10 out of 10 guys are getting all the dates, all the girls, so they're like kind of just hoarding them all. And then like let's say I don't want to reduce people to numbers, but let's say a six out of 10 girl goes on a date with a 9 out of 10 guy. The 9 out of 10 guy then sleeps with the 6 out of 10 girl. Now the 6 out of 10 girl thinks she's a 9 out of 10 when reality is just 6. So she just completely ignores the person who's her actual mate equivalent. So that's where we want to give limited matches. And that's 2 things. We want to give limited matches. We want to boost guys' profiles up. So like, for example, not even boost, it's just like better highlight. It's like, okay, let's say I'm randomly into Legos or some just random bullshit. It's like, okay, well, this guy's really good at Legos. He won 3rd place in this competition. He goes every month. That shows discipline. And then it can create a story based on that can feed into the narrative for the girl. So it's boosting in that sense as well.
So so one of the critiques of dating apps is, like, as you said, let's use the scoring system because I think everybody listening probably understands that. Let's say you're a 3 or a 4 or a 5 out of 10. Like, you've got some stuff going, but like you got some stuff to work on also. So one of the sort of things that people get upset about is when you only, like, the algorithm will start to determine like, oh, well, this person's not that attractive. So then they'll start to just only like give you unattractive people. rightfully so, people think that's a little bit unfair because it's like, hey, like don't put me in Hinge jail, don't put me in Tinder jail where I can't get out and get in front of these more attractive people. They kind of like push you down in the algorithm. This was a controversial thing because like at first Tinder didn't state that they were doing that. They kind of actually like, if I remember correctly, lied and said like, no, we're not doing that. And like a reporter literally like did some back engineering of their algorithm and found like, no, you're not like serving my profile up to attractive enough people. How do you think about that? Is that the right way of going about it, where you're only going to kind of maybe pair people in their appropriate like bracket?
Okay, so the point on Tinder is I agree with what you said, and I agree that I can see why Tinder would do that because, all right, let's be clear. Like, let's go back to Hinge for example. Hinge wants me and you
It's bad
paying
engagement.
for.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's like
yeah,
if YouTube's algorithm just didn't work very well and they just were feeding me like, you know, I don't know, Taylor Swift videos. No problem with Taylor Swift. She's not my type of artist though. So it's like, well, Alex isn't going to engage with this.
yeah. No, but like for Hinge, for example, they want us paying for the roses. Why would I buy rose? Why would you buy rose? Well, we'd only buy rose for super hot girls, so that's where they would show those as sort of ads to get you to pay for the membership. And by the way, a lot not on Hinge because actually Hinge does a really good job with it because they work with Played. So when they do their verification, they actually look at financial data to ensure that they're real users. So that's why Hinge has a lot less bots because they pay a lot per user. So they're Hinge, shout out to them for that. But like Tinder, Bumble, a lot of the fake hot girl profiles you see are bots to just keep you engaged on that, keep you paying.
Oh.
And then that's an opportunity cost from you. Like imagine you're a guy, you spend like years on Tinder without getting a date, and then you match with a bot and you chat with a bot for a while, and now like, okay, well that's an opportunity cost. Like I could have been doing literally anything else other than just completely wasting my time on the bots. But where dating comes into play and what I think is different, it's like, yes, looks are important. They're how you, it's what you first see. It's like, but yeah, it's your first impression. But that's why we want to focus on the back end. So the way I word it is like, we want to put users in the position to succeed. So we're not planning to show users too many profiles, maybe like 3 to 5 a day, and then focus on the back end, focus on the interest, focus on the storytelling. Because it's like, and that's where the storytelling comes in, because the girls need a little direction. It's like, hey, this guy's good because of X, Y, Z. You guys have this stuff in common, and hopefully you can form a connection based on that versus just straight looks. And the goal or the intention is for people to get on a date as soon as possible.
Yeah.
Because that's the only way, that's where the real connection can be made, and that's why we want the AI to handle most of that. So it's going to do most of the chatting, most of everything, because guys can't chat, girls can't choose, so it's kind of a healthy balance in between. They go on the date, they vibe well, they don't vibe well, but at least they tried.
Well, I think that practically that makes a lot of sense that you're not going to feed people like 50 profiles a day, because I've been on like dates with girls and then we'll just get to talking about the apps and how they work, and you know we're all just disappointed in this, and then girl will like turn her phone around and just show me like
thousands,
all these messages, and I'm like, how, like, why are you dating me right now? Like, what is happening? Like, how in the world did I cut through this?
That's because you're awesome, dude.
Yeah,
but,
yeah.
yeah.
But it's, hey man, 1,000 messages, you know, I'm sure you got a couple of awesome ones, but it's like, like how do you even manage that? And I've heard girls say like it's like legitimately like a job. It's a chore to like get on and sort and like try to filter this. So I think that I totally appreciate that dwindling down the choice. I mean, I'm sure you know about this, but it's the paradox of choice. When people have so many choices, they don't choose anything. So I like that a lot, but I do wonder out loud, and maybe you can tell me if you agree, like, do you think people will be like, this isn't enough, I need more, because we've been trained kind of like Hinge will give me 15 matches a day.
Yeah, no, I'm sure they'll think that. And if they think that, they can try the other apps as well. But I think once they're hooked on the app, they'll start using it. Because, like, if you're on one dating app, you're just kind of on a bunch. Like, The League, even Coffee Meets Bagel, like, they have limited sources and, like, limited number of matches per day. Like, League does 5. Raya does, like, 3 to 5. Coffee Meets Bagel does 10. And people still check those apps. So, yeah. And part of the reason why I think ours is better is, again, we want people to really focus on the actual person. And that's where the AI comes into play. So, like, imagine the girl, like, she's choosing all of this, like, 1,000 messages, like, what am I supposed to do? But in our app, she'll be able to go into, like, the Cupid chat. It's like, because she'll have, like, chatting with the Cupid. It's like, oh, would you show me matches? And it's like, okay, Eric seems cool. Here's Eric's profile. That will create a separate chat. And then she can ask questions about me. She can engage with it. She can take pictures of the screenshot, like, hey, girlfriends, what do I want to ask the AI bot about Eric? And then they can play with that. So that's where that AI aspect, and the goal is to get them to learn about the person.
So, what data are you pulling in? You talked about people linking their social media accounts. Like, what data do you feel like, and maybe there needs to be a lot more experimentation, but what data do you feel like is going to be the most valuable for pairing people together? And it's cool because I think if this works, it's an experiment, right? And when people end up getting married, it's like, now we have more data. Or
Yeah, no.
yeah.
Yeah, so in terms of data, like the biggest issue people are facing, or like for example, like people, if you connect just your Instagram, obviously we know Instagram just like a highlight reel. It's not showing who you are as a person, though. So that's where you want more data sources to create the complete profile of a person. So when I connect my Instagram, it shows a different part of me. When I connect my Twitter, that shows a different part of me. When I connect my LinkedIn, that shows a different part of me. When I connect my Apple Health, that shows a different part of me. Even when I connect my Google Calendar, that shows, like, for example, when I connect to my Google Calendar, it's like, okay, Eric has Jira meetings. He must be in tech. It picked up on that. So we'd like to draw from as many sources as possible to create the most complete profile possible. So right now, and again, we're launching soon, so we're like in QA testing phase. Actually, if you want to muck around, then you'd be a good person for that. But so in terms of data that we pull, we go Instagram, Twitter, Apple Health, Apple Photos, Google Calendar, Apple Music. We're in the middle of Spotify. Spotify is taking forever, but Spotify. And the big one that I personally like is actually crushing is Pinterest. And YouTube too. YouTube too. But
get my
yeah,
wow, man, that's a lot of.
the thing is, it's
data.
funny. It's funny though, because people connect different things for different reasons. Like, I may not want to click my YouTube video because then I don't know how many girls are into Alex Jones. So we'll see about that. Yeah.
I don't know if you need to see all of my YouTube search.
Yeah. Yeah. No, but like it's like you said, it's an experimentation phase. Like people are connecting different sources. We have to see why they're connecting and why they don't want to connect it. It's because like it's a startup. It's just one big test, and we're trying to figure out what works the best for our users. Which one do we want to push?
So how are you deciding what data is the most valuable? Let's say I connect my Instagram, I connect my Twitter, I connect, which I don't really tweet that much. I connect my Spotify, I connect my YouTube to get my YouTube search history. Let's say I connect those 4 things. Like, how are you deciding what is important data for the application for finding a potential match?
So it's hard to say, but in terms of important data, it's like which one creates the most accurate tags. So like, for example, you can connect your Instagram, it tags you as he plays baseball and you don't play baseball. Like, okay, well, that's stupid. But then you connect your Pinterest, it gives you a more deeper profile of each person. But the thing is, it's different for people too. It's like like you said, you don't tweet much, but maybe you're active on Instagram. Therefore, Twitter is not very important, but Instagram's important for that person. So it varies person by person. So it's really about getting that complete profile picture of the person. And the cool thing is, we're building out the software because it is AI. And if you mess around with O1's pretty smart. It's going to get good at filling out the gaps itself. So when you're trying to keep, it's like, oh, tell me more. It's like we saw those onboarding questions like, how old are you, a male? Are you looking for a guy or a girl? That type of thing, because we want those to be right. So it's going to be good at filling out the gaps. It's like, okay, well, I have this kind of picture of this person. What do I want to fill out? Then it'll ask you the questions in a conversational way that's supportive, that's not dickish, to get that answers. And the thing is, you'll be incentivized to answer because the more connected you are, the better chance you get of getting a good match. Because AI at its core, it's cluster analysis and pattern recognition, but like the longer you're on the app, the better it's going to get at matching you. So like, okay, here's 3 matches. You say, no. It's showing you people who are similar to you. It's like, because people are into different things. It's like, so here's 3 matches. No. Here's 3 similar matches to you. No. It'll tweak itself like, okay, well, this person is into different things. Let me try people who are different or in a different field or in different something. You say yes to some person, it learns from that, and it starts feeding you matches kind of like that. And so that works for you as an individual, but across platform too. So as it's learning about you, it's also learning about me, and whatever odds are of the best match between the two of us based on our personalities, it's going to feed that to you.
What's like the back-end AI system? I think I heard you maybe reference it, but where did that come from? Is that off-the-shelf technology that you're building into the application? How does that work?
So we're working off OpenAI. So we're using O1, but that's an issue too, because what if you never know what happens? Like, what if O1 goes belly up and then everything else is dead? So we're going live, but we want to build our own thing once we learn that. But we're using GBT, and we're playing around with O1, and O1's O1. So O1's like just the more advanced version of ChatGPT. If you haven't had a chance, to mess around with it, it's actually pretty fun. It's pretty smart. But yeah, so that's going to be helping the conversation and all that stuff.
So what does that fundamentally look like? Like I know ChatGPT's it's a text-based system. I know they have like some other things that they're working on with like images and video. But like, what does that look like fundamentally? Like, how do you connect into the back end of that to pull this different data, and like, how does it scrub? Maybe just talk me through that.
Yeah, so in terms of O1, it's like a playground where you can mess around with prompts, and different prompts yield different results, different inputs. So it's like, okay, if based on this response, I wanted to do this. I wanted to feed a match. I wanted to feed a date card. I wanted to suggest a new match. I wanted to do that. So a lot of it is just messing around with the prompt, putting in live data, seeing how the prompt reacts, and once it gets good, you pull the data and then you feed it into our system because we're building on top of that.
I see.
So that's how it's working, and we're building out like a system of tagging each profile. So that's our secret sauce. Is we're building up like a robust tagging system that feeds into that, and then it'll have correlations based on things. It's like, I'm into baseball, or like I like running. Okay, that shows he's active. Okay, maybe there's a like 0.4 correlation with a girl who's into swimming.
I see.
It's not the highest one, but it's still like something. So it's a whole rating system that just really has to get built out.
Okay, so where are you getting those tags? Is an AI system scanning a profile and creating tags, or are you like literally scrolling through somebody's Instagram to start to say like baseball fan, swimming fan? Like, how does that work?
Yeah, so that's where the social media comes in. AI comes in, scans the social media, creates a tag based on that, and then we plug it into our system, and that our system does the data analysis, gives it the score, then the AI creates the matches.
I gotcha. So you're kind of taking the AI, you're sicking it on my Instagram, on my YouTube algorithm, and then that AI is going to kind of batch out, like Alex is into like electronic music or like Muay Thai. He's got Muay Thai videos on his YouTube playlist, things like that. Those tags then get aggregated in my profile. Now, is there like a scoring system? Like, are they like, oh, he's really into Muay Thai, or is it just like that's just one data point? Is it like all weighted evenly? How does that work?
No, so there's a scoring system. So like, let's say you're super into Muay Thai, you have high Muay Thai score. But if like, let's say you just post one thing, you're not that into Muay Thai, you get a lower score. So we're getting the positive data, and what's hard is getting the negative data. So like, let's say you're into Muay Thai. It's like, great, Alex is into Muay Thai. He posts about Muay Thai. That's simple enough. But he doesn't like jiu-jitsu.
Right.
How do I know you don't like jiu-jitsu? You don't post about jiu-jitsu. So that's where Twitter and all that stuff comes. That's why having multiple sources is so important, because posting on Instagram, you post stuff you like, whereas Twitter, Pinterest, you're more likely to post stuff that you don't like. And that's where the AI has to come in and learn based off of that too. That's where like, it's going to have to ask questions like,
how do you think it's going to work with like political leanings? Like, let's say some people will post about their political leanings, right? But let's say some people won't, right? Like, maybe you never say anything about, we just had the presidential election earlier this week. So half the country's annoyed, half the country's happy, right? But they're not going to tweet about it. Maybe like how do you think about something like that? That it seems like that negative, like, oh my gosh, I hate Trump. It's like, okay, well, I probably don't want to pair this person with someone who's like a big fan. What do you think about that?
Yeah, the liberals will probably have trouble getting dates anyways. But no, like
they say that guys and girls are going to have bad relationships because the male's heavily skewed to the right in this election cycle and females heavily skewed to the left. So there's going to be like oil and water here going on. I don't know. That's what they say.
No, I can see that. That's something we want to ask so that's something that's important to ask. Like, so like, when we do the onboarding questions, there's questions that are very important to get the information of, like, do you have kids? Yes or no? Because even if you don't have kids, you may not post about other kids. Like, how are you supposed to know? So do you have kids? What are you looking for? What's your religion? Politics, I think, is on that line where it's like, you really want to identify which part, like maybe the person doesn't know, but like you said, it's matching left and right isn't going so well because the divide's pretty bad.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, certainly I wish that it was not that way and everybody could just be like, yeah, well, whatever you're into, that's no big deal.
I think it will get that way soon though. Because like most people agree on like 8 out of 10 things. It's just like the 2 things that they're just like fully just like, I'm ready to go to war. It's like, nah, just chill.
I just tell everybody, I'm like, well, regardless of who the president is, they're probably going to do what they always do, which is almost nothing for us. So it's like, let's not get too hyperbolic and like, it's not the end of the world. Like, let's slow down. Like, they're probably just not going to do anything like they normally do. It's actually a funny story. I had a state representative come in who's our district representative, and he's like kind of a big deal in the House of Representatives. He's like very outspoken, and I swear to you, he came in and he's like, well, this was, I guess, 3 years ago now. He's like, well, we got a divided Congress, Alex, so that's what you want as a business owner, because that means nothing's going to get done and you can just keep on doing business. And I was like, whoa, like, I can't believe you just said that to me. Like, I guess that's a good thing, but like, what if we wanted some positive changes? Like, come on, brother. So I don't know, probably nothing will happen.
Yeah. Hey, sometimes the most beneficial thing someone can do is nothing.
Yeah.
And sometimes that's the hardest thing to do.
Yeah. So talk to me about kind of where you view this going. Like, what you have the launch strategy planned out. Like, how many users do you have? Are you testing that at the current moment in time? And what do you think needs to happen to like get to like, a serious point of the market share?
Yeah, so in terms of users, so right now launch is set for February 14th. Our plan is to copy the Uber model, so go city by city. And the cool thing about this particular startup is, so for a startup, like you have to reach a certain amount of users to either be acquired or go public or all that stuff. And you have to reach that, so it's do or die. But as we get users, someone will always buy those users. So it's like climbing a mountain, but you have those like stakes, so you have like save points, which is chill for us. Users, it's probably, so our strategy is like city by city, start off with LA, February 14th. We have a wait list going, so to help train the AI, and that's organically grown to probably around 700, which isn't the most in the world, but it's like, hey, we're not putting any money behind it.
Yeah, I'd say that's pretty good.
Yeah, no, it's solid. And so that's like a good start. Hopefully they're all around LA. For it to go big, so we're gonna obviously raise some money too. So like use that, hire some talent, get some ad spend on, crush the podcast circuit. We want to infiltrate culture. So we have a good in with the Twitter community. So that's going to be a big play for us. Going to a bunch of podcasts, setting up ambassador programs college by college. So like LA, we're working with UCLA, USC, SDSU, getting ambassador programs on the ground that way. And really just trying a bunch of things, like getting that whole influencer marketing thing going. I'm not sure how I feel about that, but I think you have to try. I think Instagram and Facebook ads are really good for specific targeting, so I can target the gender and like do all that stuff. Whereas TikTok is good for the influencers to get that initial buzz going. Yeah, so it's something we'll figure out.
You kind of glossed over, we'll raise money. So what's your kind of idea behind that process?
Yeah, just a normal fundraise. So we're doing like a gloss over because I'm not sure how much I'm supposed to talk about it, but yeah, just a small little raise. Get people on the payroll paid, use the money for some marketing like events and all that stuff, put some ads behind it, get some users. So raise initial money first for the LA launch, get a bunch of users, get the proof of concept, and then go for bigger raise too. But like, look, here's what the money we got, here's the users we got, here's what worked for us, here's what didn't work for us. Now we're going to expand and scale it up.
Interesting. Now, is that kind of raising money something you've done in the past before, or is that something that's going to be new for you?
Yeah, it's something I've done in the past before, so it's not the hardest thing in the world. It's just kind of like the thing about fundraising. It's oftentimes it's a time suck too. It's not something you really want to be doing. And an important lesson I learned about fundraising too. It's actually I think this is important for business owners to know. It's like one of my past startups, we took money from the wrong people. Like they're good people. They were just the wrong people for us. And this resulted in like a split in direction of the company. So they're like, okay, we'll do X, Y, and Z, and we'll introduce it to our rest of our fundraising network. And then we're like, but X, Y, and Z isn't the direction we want to go. So we tried that. It didn't work out. The startup fit. It didn't work out, but we learned a lot. So that's important because as an entrepreneur, like you haven't got paid for a while. And then you're like, oh, this is a first check, proof of concept. Just be wary of who you take money from because it's more of a partnership than anything.
How do you determine at this point who's the correct people to take money from?
Vibe check, trust check. So really it's like, I view it as it's like an advice type thing. It's like, hey, you're here to give advice, but the decision is up to the company and team members. It's like a fall on your sword type thing. Also just experience. It's just like, okay, well, a lot of people we come through referrals as well. So like they're trusted sources, and you just have that with like time in the market. It's like, okay, I'm working with these type of people. They've worked with these people in the past. Great. Okay. That makes it much easier. And in terms of fundraising, not gonna lie, the interest rate, that actually helped a lot too. So got a bunch of DMs yesterday. It's like, hey, you still raising? I'm like, yeah.
Well, why do you think that is? Because there just isn't as many options out there for capital deployment, like in the market.
So for us, we post about it pretty excessively. So I have in terms of LinkedIn, I have a decent LinkedIn strategy where it's like I add the person specifically. So I've added a bunch of angel investors, a bunch of VC firms. I send them an initial message. That message pushes me in their algorithm, so they just see my content over and over again because people don't really post on LinkedIn. So that's my strategy. In terms of the Fed, why that helped is just more free capital that they're trying to deploy. So like if their interest rates are lower, there's no point for holding the capital. They want to send it out. And they're like, okay, well, I need a project. Luckily for me, both the projects I work with are literally just buzzwords. So like AI or Web3. Okay, AI is cool. Let me try this. Oh, they have some traction. They seem to be successful. They have a good team. They're professional. There's like a real live MVP that they can test. There's a path to public. There's a path to make money. That whole mountain analogy works really well too.
Interesting. So the goal would be get a little bit of cash, get some user acceptance, increase the users, and then eventually what? Maybe potentially raise again, or potentially sell some of those users to a larger, like OkCupid or something like that?
So get some cash. So the first rounds are usually more friends or family or just like small angel investors. So that's going to probably close out that. So we have everything we need soft circled. And after that, go for more actual funds, get more cash, and just scale it up. In terms of selling it, so it could go like you never know what happens in the future. Someone could offer to buy it. It could go public. It could fizzle out and fail. So we'll make each decision around that when the time comes. Me personally, I think selling it's relatively easy. So in the dating app space, Match.com owns pretty much everyone. Or Match.com, when the dating app reaches a certain amount of users, which is 1 million, they try to buy them out. So that'll be our target for the sell there. And that's not too hard to get. Me personally, I want to see it go public just because I want to. I don't know. It's a little checkbox for me. I want to take a public company public.
How many dating apps have gone public?
I know Bumble and Tinder have.
I feel like I remember those also. Yeah.
Yeah, the big ones have. So.
How are those companies doing, like as a whole?
So users aren't happy, but they've been around for so long that they've been just chilling. So their struggle is they see the AI phase going, but their reputation's already pretty bad. It's like no one really trusts Tinder, no one really trusts Bumble. I think they're trying to find ways to retroactively fit AI, which they technically could, but they have no way to. Their struggle will be getting the data from the users to actually make it beneficial. And I have friends at both, and they're like. Because I have friends at Tinder who's pretty high up. He's like, yeah, like even if we want to try something like that, it just takes forever to do, forever to build. So they could be an acquisition target in the future. And of course, like going back to LinkedIn strategy, I added people on Match.com, their acquisition team, their VC team. So they'll be monitoring our content, and I'll be pushing growth numbers and making it seem all positive and cool.
Interesting. Okay, talk to me about the other business and how you keep up with trying to manage two of these things at the same time.
So managing two of those at the same time is just because the team members are pretty fantastic. So ShopX has been around for a while. So we're a platform, we're an app within the Shopify ecosystem where a brand can download our app, they can interact with the Web3 space and do Web3 things and hopefully make some money. So long term for that is we're going to be like an Apple type thing where it's like there's multiple products, whatever, like Google type thing where it's like different products, offer different services and whatever your business needs. We want to be the go-to shop for that. So we have 3 projects right now live, or 3 products. First is ReserveX. That's an NFT powered loyalty program. You're on Shopify. If you download the app, you can launch a NFT with e-commerce utilities. You can get like discounts, exclusive products, and all that stuff.
Okay.
The second product we are working with is SquadX, and that's the first ever blockchain-based ambassador program. So when we make ReserveX revenue, we share that revenue with our community members. They get paid in Ethereum. They start posting about our brand, getting more people excited, getting more brands on the platform, making more money for them. So it creates a nice little upward spiral. And we're going through somewhat of a transition period or like a company merger. So we're merging with a different company that I can't talk too much about. But the third and major thing we're pushing right now or working on is MerchX. So what that is, it's creating a digital equivalent for e-commerce products. So like if you're Nike, you can attach you can have your e-commerce SKU, and then each individual e-commerce SKU will have a tokenized version of that product. So Nike, you attach like 1 million products, you have 1 million RWAs or real world assets. You can track that tokenized product throughout its whole life cycle. So okay, it's sold once, twice, 3 times, 4 times for X amount of money. You can program royalties. From the customer side, you can trace it back to Nike because you can insure it from it's actually from the Nike store. If the metaverse or AR becomes a thing, that's also the perfect equivalent, because like I buy Nike glasses in real life, I have those glasses, great. Now my metaverse avatar has those glasses because it's attached to a crypto wallet, and now I can gain access to the Nike Lounge, or I purchase something in the Nike metaverse. Now I have the digital equivalent. I go and redeem the product or service in real life. And so right now we're launched. So this is where the merger comes in, because they have access to pretty much every luxury client. So we're launching somewhat of an MVP in the couple of months called MerchX, and that's gonna be a website where you can buy a digital equivalent of a luxury item, and then that RWA will function as a voucher type thing to claim the product. So like if you want to buy like a Ferrari, a McLaren, a Petite watch, those type of like high net value items, you go to the ShopX MerchX website. You have the right amount of our tokenized software licenses, so that the tokens function as tokenized software licenses. So as a brand, when you gain access to our product and services, you need that a certain amount. So you have those, you hit the website, you get your product, you're good to go. So yeah, that launch is coming up, and which is nice, dude, because we're honestly, I think I'll crush it, because like the timing of the market, for your listeners, like the crypto markets, it's the same thing every 4 years. It's cyclical. Bitcoin's pumping because of the rate cut, because of President Trump, whatever you think of him, it's good for crypto. Bitcoin gets the value, it goes to Ethereum, then it goes to larger cap altcoins, and then it goes to smaller cap altcoins, which are us. And then we'll be a crypto project with millions of dollars in RWA sold, millions of dollars in total value locked, a cool narrative, and then people are going to start posting about it, thus bringing attention to the product, hopefully bringing us success with our community success.
Okay, let's go back to the beginning. Give me some definitions, because I heard you talk about Web3. I mean, maybe just define for everybody what Web3 is.
Oh, yeah. Sorry, my bad.
No, you're good.
Web 1, Web 2, Web 3, there's random made-up words to describe a certain stage of the internet. Web 1, think of it as read-only. So you can go online, you can read stuff. That's fantastic, because you can learn more. So as a society, we got smarter, because you can go online and read whatever. Web 2, the best way to frame it would be social media. So it's read and write, but you don't own. So I could write an Instagram post. You can read my Instagram post. You can interact with that post. That's fantastic, because now I'm creating content, you're reading content. The only issue is Instagram owns that content, and we say something wrong, and they can come back and cancel us for whatever reason. Web 3 is read, write, and own. So that's where the ownership aspect comes in. So you read content, you can write content, you can own content. So let's say hypothetically I create a cryptocurrency NFT as an e-commerce brand. You're one of my customers. You're like, okay, I like Eric's brand. I want this digital pass. It doesn't have to be worded as an NFT, because it gives me specific discounts, because it gives me access to this product. You then purchase the pass. The pass is now yours. I can't take it away from you. Amazon, Instagram, Facebook, they can't take it away from you. It's your pass. If you want to sell it in the future for profit or not, that's totally up to you, because it's yours. And for Web3 to be successful, and there are two main reasons Web3 isn't successful right now. The first is the just incentive. Like, there's no real reason for my mom to ever enter Web3 space. It's just like, Mom, don't do it. And even if she wanted to, the UI is just not there. Like Mom, Eric, I want to go to Web3. Well, don't, because you'll fail. So the UI and incentives aren't there. That's where I think we're coming to help. It's like we're giving e-commerce brands an incentive to bring their customers into the Web3 space. And if they want to learn more about it, that's great, which goes back to my personal ethos on Bitcoin.
Interesting. So you're basically giving people an opportunity to own things on the web. And
yeah, pretty much.
Through ShopX, you're providing opportunities and different mechanisms for that.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Like, overall, I wanted to live a nice, peaceful life. That's kind of my goal. I felt that to be more difficult, whether I'm right or wrong, but I felt that was more difficult to do if I felt the money system was corrupt. And then that led me to physical gold and physical silver as a potential solution. Bitcoin, to me, found me as the next iteration of that. Like, maybe it works, maybe it doesn't. And so ShopX is a way for me to onboard people into that ecosystem at scale with their own decision. Like, because you can't force anyone to do anything. It's like, hey, learn about Web3. They're like, I will never learn about Web3, but like, hey, well, Nike's using it. I have this thing. Maybe I learn more, and maybe it's a 0 to 1 moment. You never know.
So do you foresee kind of the back end Web3 to just get more integrated into everything that we're seeing, like just Nike's website and things like that?
Yeah, no, I hope so. And I think it will, because again, like, we both know how fickle customers are. Like, if like the button on because like I've had a checkout startup where it's like one button on the checkout doesn't work, or something's off, they leave the product, they never purchase again. So like imagine that with Web3. So like the cool thing is Web3 is composable. It's essentially just means that Web3 plays off the compound of the software, which is basically just copy and paste code. So like once a problem is solved, for one person, it tends to be solved for everyone else. And now with the big guys entering the space, like let's say Nike enters the space, and most of them are tiptoeing around it, but like Nike enters the space, they have the resources, and they're never going to send their customers to a janky experience. So they build a usable product for their customers. Then Adidas has to do it. Then Reebok has to do it. So it's gonna be a gradually then suddenly movement. And then hopefully in the future, everyone's doing the Web3 thing without even knowing the word Web3 exists.
Now, in regards to Web3, are most things built open source, or is that not necessarily a necessity of the platform?
A combination. So a lot of things are built open source. Like ShopX is an open source product. So like, let's say you join the community. If you wanted to make a proposal, like you could go on a GitHub, make the proposal, like, oh, this marketing proposal, this development proposal, and then people will vote on it. But it's not a necessary. It's the ethos of Web3 is open source, but not everything has to be open. I don't think everything, because you can't open source everything. Companies are the secret sauce. So like, really,
right.
Yeah, it's like, yeah.
Now, through ShopX, could someone else hypothetically create an application and post it through your platform? Or at the moment, is it only proprietary products that you're building and providing onto the posting?
At the moment, it's proprietary, but long term, we want it to be anyone can come in and build something. So to do that, we need to be like, no one's going to build anything on like a random crypto project they never heard of. So to do that, we need more momentum for people to want to build. It's like, why would you want to build on a project with no brands, no nothing, no revenue, no total value locked? So we have to bring that, then it brings the attention, then people come in and they build on top of that. So that's the ultimate goal, but we'll see how it goes.
So how would this start to interface with other people's lives? Like what is the perfect scenario where you start to see these types of projects getting popped up more frequently? Like what's the most likely use case in the future?
So the most likely use case for ShopX specifically in the future is tokenized luxury items. So like if you want to tokenize, like it's creating a new marketplace in the sense like, okay, I have this McLaren, I have this fancy supercar that, where do I sell it? I don't know. Who do I find to buy this car? I don't know. You scan it, you take out your phone, you scan an NFC chip, you have a tokenized version, you post it in a marketplace, and then someone can come in and buy that. And the cool thing is it's long-term, it can create everyone be their own Amazon. So I could post on McLaren, like, oh, someone sell it. So you could sell it, I could sell it, someone else could sell it. And we're starting with luxury items just because it's hype and it's easy and it's going to make a big PR splash in the current crypto marketplace. But like, imagine Nike or any of your Amazon stores like that you're working with, like they're cross-selling each other's products. So like the coffee shop is selling the cookies are selling the coffee shop. I go to the coffee shop because I want some cookies, or I want some coffee. I'm like, oh great, but these cookies go well with it. I purchase both. I get the NFT, I get the RWA token. I redeem that on the cookie store, and then I claim both products. Cookie store gets an extra sale. Coffee store gets a commission. I get both products. So it's a win-win-win. But that's a ways off. I think I think Web3 mass adoption is like 10 to 15 years off, just because of where we're at, and like it'll speed up, but like there's still a lot of work to do in terms of incentive and in terms of actual UI, because the UI is just garbage.
I think I follow with what you're talking about. Like if it was the metaverse, like yeah, if I buy a Rolex, like I want to wear it in the metaverse. Yeah. But I guess I'm maybe a little more fuzzy on if you're not applying that to the metaverse, like where am I taking value? Maybe if I go to sell it, right? Like I get that. But like where would I take value from just like identifying that I own this item if it's not in the metaverse and I'm not attempting to sell it?
Yeah, that makes sense. You take, let's say your hat is tokenized. Okay, this hat's cool. Maybe I want to ensure it's a real hat, but it's like, okay, this hat's a real hat. I take out my phone, scan, I can track it all the way back to the factory. So there's some authenticity for that. Maybe you don't care about the hat. It's like, I mean, don't get me wrong, man. It's a cool hat, but like, I don't exactly care if it's from the Columbus region authenticity store. Right. That's like, okay, well, Columbus knows I'm a customer. They know who, because like NFTs and cryptocurrency at its core are just it's a connection between a creator and consumer. So now Columbus knows you're a product owner, you own this specific product, and they can offer you benefits from that. So it's a way you can build communities around projects or different products. Like, in the crypto space, as much as it made me cringe, NFTs were a big thing. So an NFT is like a non-fungible token, and communities just being up around that. Brands can get that now with e-commerce products. So it's like, oh, all the people who own that specific hat, you can be in a group now, you can chat, you can communicate, we know who you are, and so you can better, I guess, corral your customers. And because you own the hat, you feel like you have part ownership of the customer, part ownership of the brand. So let's say, I know you said you didn't want to sell, but like, let's say hypothetically, Compass store becomes like the next Lululemon. That's like a very limited line. It's like, okay, well, that company is successful because I own a digital version of that. Now I can share in the wealth too. So like, that becomes the next Lululemon. You're in a group with all owners who have the specific hat. Now the hat's worth more. You decide to sell it. You decide to pass it on. It's all up to you.
Yeah, I've heard that use case be used for like concert tickets, where like there's sort of a tracking method there, and then
that's the perfect use case. So for example, like if like let's say I purchase concert tickets. Now I own the ticket. It's NFT or cryptocurrency technology. I can post on an open marketplace. You can come and buy the ticket. Ticketmaster doesn't get it 60%, so they're out of the picture. Now you are literally the owner of the ticket. If you want to sell it again, you can. And let's just say hypothetically, it's a new concert. Like it's my first show. You're attending my first show. You have the NFT, so you have the digital proof that you were there at that concert. You're one of my early supporters. Now there's a connection between me and you. 20 years down the line, I'm the first stage of Coachella. It's like, okay, well, my OG's this guy. He's my OG. Here, come visit me. Here's some free product. Here's some free pass. Or if, like, let's say it's a basketball game or like a baseball game, whatever the case, and like some major momentous thing happens. It's like, okay, well, I know exactly who's there. Let's airdrop a physical or a digital version of a physical product for them to claim, like rather than get like a random ball. But it's like, okay, well, now in your wallet that owns a ticket, here's a redemption thing for an autographed signature from the athlete to accomplish this thing.
I've also heard that potentially
music too is sick.
Well, I've heard that artists, when they make that initial sale of the ticket, that's good. They get whatever, X percentage, 30% or something. But then when it's resold and marked up, they don't make anything. Because that was like a big controversy with the Taylor Swift thing, right? Like she was releasing these tickets. I have no idea how much they were, $200. And then they were going onto the resale market for like $2,000. And she was like, well, I don't want these to be sold for $2,000. And then somebody's out there making $1,600. But I've heard the use case that potentially the initial artist, whether you're making a digital piece of art or you're releasing a concert ticket, they could either make a portion of it or they could set like limitations on like, hey, like this cannot go over whatever $300 on a sale price.
Oh yeah, no, they can too. Like they can tell you that it's relatively easy to do with the smart contract. So, let's say you're Taylor Swift, you want to, and we've actually done that for a hat brand too. Like where it's like they're hype, we're a hat brand where it's like their hats would get sold on the open market for like 10 times the profit. Bots would come in and scalp all their inventory, and then their customers wouldn't get the product. But with Taylor Swift, let's say if Taylor wanted to launch a concert, like 500 concert tickets, and be like, okay, you guys can't sell this once, so you can create a soulbound RWA token where like, okay, now you purchase it, you can't sell it again. If she wants to, she can be like, okay, fine, you guys can sell it 3 times, but each time you sell it, I get a portion that can all be programmed within the smart contract. So you sell that Taylor Swift concert, great, I paid the amount of money for the Taylor Swift concert, but Taylor Swift now gets X percent. And on top of that, it's like, you can also do cool things in the future too. It's like you can turn an individual song, and this is all future talk, like it's obviously not built yet, but like Taylor Swift can turn an individual piece of her song into a NFT, like into a RWA or NFT or a cryptocurrency product, and then sell a piece of that song off. So there's only one owner. So like theoretically, I can own like the first 5 seconds of Thunderstruck, which would be sick. Mm-hmm. And then every time Thunderstruck gets played on the radio because of cryptocurrency micropayments, I could get a portion of that. So.
Right. This is kind of one of the arguments to like democratize some of these pieces of art. Like, let's say we could own whatever 10% of Thunderstruck. Then every time it gets played, you and I are actually making money off of that, and the smart contract could track it across every platform on planet Earth.
Yeah.
So, do you want to maybe just tell me a little bit about smart contracts? Can you give me some definitions and use cases for those?
Yeah, so smart contract is just like a code base that deploys the NFT. So it's where you put in the parameters. So what ShopX did is we created a smart contract factory where you can log into Shopify, you fill out certain forms like picture, image, NFT price, amount of NFTs, and then it spits out a contract. And then the contract is just where people mint. So like it's basically just like a coding contract where it's like, it's where you put in the parameters for your cryptocurrency product, whatever the case may be. So it's like a code base. I want 50 NFTs for that sell for this amount of time for $5. You just program them all into a smart contract.
Yeah, and like maybe one of the best kind of examples I heard is, let's say everybody in your neighborhood gets solar panels, and I use whatever 100% of my need, you use only 90% of your need. If I went over, let's say I used my 110%, and I needed that 10% of energy from you, everybody's panels could be connected into a smart contract, and they could just kind of zip the funds back and forth. You and I wouldn't even really need to like be involved in that. It would just come out of my account, go straight to you for that overage of energy. If everyone was like basically connected on a grid, I was like, wow, that's like a really interesting example of a way that it could work, where you and I don't need to be involved, and it just happens behind the scenes, essentially.
Yeah, no. Yeah, no, that's cool. That would work very well.
Interesting. So, where would you see this this Web3 thing going for your project? Like, what's the perfect situation? Is this a target for acquisition, or is this something that you think is a passion project you'll just keep at?
So the perfect situation is actually playing out. The perfect situation will becomes a fully decentralized project, and people are just naturally building on top of it, like Ethereum. It's like with Ethereum, there's an Ethereum Foundation. People are building their dApps on top of Ethereum, like ShopX. So hopefully people build their dApps on top of ShopX. In terms of timing in the market, that's where I really think the universe has our back. Like the crypto market hitting full swing, the Gensler is probably going to get fired, which helps the regulatory situation, which was the biggest choke point, honestly. So that's now attention in the crypto market switching back to utility tokens, which is what ShopX is. We've been around for a while. All the attention is going to flood into ShopX. We're going to launch the second version of our tokenized software license with a really cool, like I can't say it, obviously, but we have one of the best like launch partners we could possibly have. That's going to generate a lot of buzz, and people are going to get involved. And then long term, hopefully it's like a Shopify app where people, if they want to tokenize their products, they just go online, log into their Shopify app, press a button, bam, you have your tokenized products, you upload it to a global inventory base, and then anyone can sell your products, and then people like your products, they come in and sell your products.
So
long term, I want to put it out there just because I believe in putting out words just to kind of create your own reality. So long term, we want 80% of all NFTs in the world to be ShopX RWA NFTs, and that's totally possible because, like, imagine like Nike, they create a digital equivalent of every single one of their products, or Nike and Adidas do that. That's a good way to take market share of the NFT space. So that's what we're aiming for.
Are these big companies like Nike and Adidas, and I know you talked about some luxury companies, is this like on their radar, or are they just so like corporate driven they're not thinking about this yet?
So it's been on the radar for a while. It's just, and I can cite a live example that failed because I think that was really important. So a lot of them are thinking about it. So we've been in contact with a lot of them, and they're like, oh, they're waiting for the customer to catch up. Like Nike can launch the best NFT or RWA program in the world. The customer doesn't even know what it is. These software isn't usable, like whatever. So that's why we're focusing on luxury items, because that's a niche market that we can kind of nail down, hand walk someone through tokenizing like a $1 million supercar, and then the buyer can come in too. So in terms of a failure, so we were working with Impact Wrestling. So we had everything signed. They were set to launch their NFT launch. It was a cool pass. So Impact's like a WWE type thing where you buy the wrestler pass, you get a special section in the Discord, you meet the wrestler, you get autographed merch. Everything was set, the graphics was set. They posted the social media post. That got ratioed really hard because that happened right around the time of FTX failure. So the people are like, I don't want this. And then the company pulled the project. So that was because the customer wasn't ready for prime time. And that just comes with time. But like, we're already working with brands like Fox, like they're Chocopopolis, like they have an NFT collection. You own a crap chicken, you get exclusive access to like content behind the scenes. You can vote on stuff in the show. You can get products. So like, that's an example of them just dipping their toes in, so they're aware of it. They just haven't gone all in because they probably shouldn't have at that time.
Yeah. Do you think that the perception of NFTs will shift? Because I think when you say NFT to me, I think of like the Bored Ape,
Garbage.
Bored Apes,
Yeah.
And I remember everybody buying these, and Steph Curry bought his Bored Ape, and it was whatever $300,000, and then the value did spike for stuff for like a little while, but then it kind of came back to reality, and people were like, I don't know if this is really worth anything or not.
I think and this is something we're helping with, and I think the perception of NFTs is, because like in the past cycle, most people bought NFTs because like, okay, I want to buy this because they wanted the price action. Like, I'm going to buy this because it's going to pump, and this resulted in a bunch of scams. Pretty much just like a liquidity pool from a lot of people. So that's where ShopX is coming to differentiate. So our NFTs, they are NFTs, but they have e-commerce utility. It's like, why would you buy the guy at the hat store's NFT? Well, it's not because the price is going to pump. It's because you want the specific hat that comes with the hat. So like, it'll be seen as digital passes type of thing, where it's like, no one even use the word NFT because I think that language is, I don't know, that has a negative connotation for me in my mind. And like talking with brands, it's like they're like 50, 60-year-old executives like, hey, do you want to get involved in NFTs? I'm like, oh, isn't that like a 50 million, or isn't that like a $1 million monkey? No, thank you. It's like, aren't most of those scams? It's like, no, thank you. And then I'm like, no, these are e-NFTs. They have e-commerce utility. They create revenue for your brand that way. So the underlying technology will stay the same. I think the usage and verbiage around it would change, or better yet, evolve.
Yeah, I think just like the whole FTX situation.
Oh, it's pain in the ass.
Everyone goes, oh, like, maybe this is bullshit. But then you come back and you go, all right, well, wait. Some of it was bullshit, but
most of it's bullshit.
But Bitcoin still has value, you know. Ethereum probably still has value. A lot of the stuff on the outside, I think you and I would probably agree, maybe doesn't have value. But then you have to whittle back down to like what's real and what's not. I think that's sort of where NFTs were. They had to whittle down what was real and what wasn't. And you arrive with something left, but usually not nearly what you started with.
Yeah, it was like a cleansing fire type of thing.
Mm-hmm. Yep. I got caught up in Voyager, man.
Oh, good God.
Voyager. I've gotten most of my money back, fortunately.
Okay.
But I'm not going to be made totally whole, it doesn't seem like.
Yeah, at least you got something back.
Oh, dude. I mean,
yeah.
I was reading stories of people that had like hundreds of thousands of dollars in some of these, and I'm like, man. But I'm also like, so it's funny because someone asked me, like, because I was talking about the free market, and I think we're probably among a very similar viewpoint, like very libertarian. Like, I don't want the government getting involved.
Just leave me alone.
No, I was like, I don't even know if there should be like FDIC insurance, and they're like, what? And I'm like, you know, this, that, and the third. And they're like, well, what about when Voyager, you know, crashed and you lost like some money out of that? I was like, that's on me. You know, like I should have paid better attention to the controls of that business. I shouldn't have, you know, went into that so blind. And it is kind of a crazy thing, right? Because like most people probably never experience like losing significant amount of money like from an investment firm in their life. Like it's just like almost so crazy. You think like that's not even possible. And when it happens, you're like, how is this possible? It's like, well, you know, got to do your diligence.
Yeah, and honestly, that's so like I keep saying it's like crypto can be a double-edged sword too. It's like ownership, you get the power, you get to own your assets, but at the same time, if you lose your assets, like you can't exactly call the CEO of Ethereum or CEO of Bitcoin like, yeah, man, I lost this. Can you send me a refund? It just doesn't work that way. So I think there has to be like a two-tiered solution. So I think there always has to be the optionality for users to take control of their assets, which keeps the owners honest. Because like imagine like if we did a run on the banks, like they would fail because no one can really take control. But like, I don't know. It's like my mom is happy with her Chase account. Like I don't really want her getting off that to some like crypto firm and just they go down and she loses her life savings. So like I think it has to be. There really has to be a combination of both, or at least in the near term.
What got you into cryptocurrency?
So overall mindset. So like my first job out of college was as a bankruptcy consultant, which is kind of just like a job. It's like Fortune 500 companies going through the bankruptcy process. You just move around a bunch of debt. So when I was working with that, I was getting really into like Mike Maloney and just kind of conspiracy theories.
Gold and silver, baby.
Yeah, gold and silver. And then I found Bitcoin. And I'm like, okay, well, this doesn't align with the ethos at all. Because, like, in the bankruptcy system, like, a company goes bankrupt, there's tiers of creditors, like Tier 1, Tier 2, Tier 3, Tier 4, the lawyers, consultants, and, like, where we were at, we're at the top. So every hour we were billing out, which we're incentivized to bill at hours. Like, I would check stuff, like, 2 or 3 times. It's like, okay, well, that's just taking money from a pool that could be going to, like, the people near the bottom. And at the same time, I'm talking to people on the bottom of the phone, like, damn, this does suck for you. And it's like taking years. I'm like, this is so stupid. This doesn't align with the Bitcoin ethos. So I quit that job, started going to cryptocurrency meetups in my local area, met the original ShopX team. We've been building ShopX ever since that. So that was like 2016. And then we had another idea. It was called Pollinator Car Rev. So I basically solved affiliate codes. So like it was an in-app checkout. So it was a quick checkout for like in-app if you want to purchase a product directly through Instagram. that eventually got funded by an incubator in California. It's probably one of the best ones actually. And then I was younger, so I used that experience to just, because an incubator is like different startups at different levels of different fields. Like I used that experience just to talk with many different CEOs, CTOs, CMOs, just across the board, and I use that as a learning experience for me. So that was invaluable.
Where,
I don't think that.
where do you see where do you see crypto going in the future?
Well, I think that they're gonna. I don't know. Bitcoin's gonna. I don't want to say that Bitcoin's gonna be the reserve currency, but it's looking that way. I would love for that to happen. So I think Bitcoin's gonna become the reserve currency. I think Ethereum's around to stay. And again, dude, I don't want to talk on this because I could be completely wrong. Like,
right.
crypto, yeah, but like, I think Ethereum's around to stay. I could see each individual country creating their own blockchain and just running off of that. Yeah, so I think Bitcoin is I think it's gonna usher in an age of, combined with AI, I think it's gonna really push humanity forward because it creates incentives of value creation versus value extraction. So like, if I want to become really rich, how do I do this? Really rich without adding value, how do I do this? I place myself right next to the money printer. I extract as much value as I can from that money printer, which is taking money from me and you, which is not good. Now I'm in a position of power. I will beat the person who's trying to beat me, who doesn't have access to the money printer. Now I get two more friends. Now there's three of us, and we have corruption from the top down. I think that's the system we have. Whereas Bitcoin incentivizes value creation. So like, I think money has energy to it. It's like if you make a bunch of money by providing a bunch of value to a lot of people, I think that's good for you. Like, good job, man. Mm-hmm. You're helping people, making money. But like, so if I wanted your Bitcoin, if I want to become as rich as possible, and I want your Bitcoin, how do I get your Bitcoin? Well, I can't inflate it away from you. I can't take it away from you. I have to produce something of value for you, and then you have to send me your Bitcoin. And that goes back to the original thing of like authenticity and happiest serving other people. It's like, okay, if I want to get as much Bitcoin as I possibly can, the best way for me to do that is to serve as many people as I possibly can. And the only way for me to do that is to follow my authenticity and natural gifts, because that's where I'm most talented at. And that's what creates an incentive where everyone's thinking that way, whether they know it or not. So like, our generation, fine. But like, imagine if everyone's trying to create value for other people like 2, 3, 4 generations down the line. So I think that's why I love Bitcoin so much. I think it just kind of, and it has its fault. It's like, oh, it's slow, it's stupid. The crypto community can be cringe. It's like, you lose your Bitcoin, you lose your keys. Mm-hmm. Like, there's bad actors, just like every other space that try, like, there's tons of bad actors. But I think the core of the technology, the core of the technology will help push humanity forward. And if you couple that with AI, because AI is basically, I view AI as a tool for people to leverage natural gifts. So like, if my passion is e-commerce, I have this, I want to sell this pen for whatever reason. Like, pens are my favorite thing. This is a fantastic pen. How do I sell this? If I were in the Philippines 50 years ago, I wouldn't be able to sell the pen. I just die in the Filipino slums. I can say that because I'm Filipino. But now with AI, I can use AI to like, okay, help me write this website. Help me copy. Help me create graphics. Help me sell this pen. And now I've learned something. I'm trying to sell something that adds value. It either works or it doesn't. But now I can help. It'll help my thought become physical much quicker. So if you're trying to add value and you have those tools, I think we're set up for success.
Yeah, the barriers to providing value are a lot lower with AI because you can. You
worked with that.
And hopefully in a couple of years you can basically just type prompts and it'll batch out code, like batch out a website. It's going to be crazy when that's the reality.
And the cool thing is, I love AI. I think it saves me so much time, but you also can't beat the human creativity. I don't think AI will ever be able to copy the human creativity. It's like the human has to have the idea. It's like, yeah, you can batch out 100 prompts, but like, you need the authentic, because again, you can pick up when something's fake. So like, you need the human to actually create the thing and drive it forward. You need the human to sell the thing. You need like you need the face-to-face connection. That's where humans, I don't think they're gonna get replaced by AI. I think they'll be enhanced by AI.
Yeah, I think we're still
so.
A ways off. And
I
think the excitement and fervor around like, oh, we're gonna automate all the jobs away. It's like we're pretty far away from that, I think.
Yeah. And the thing is, if we automate the jobs, if we automate some jobs away, the way I look at it is like, hey, now you're freeing up people's time to hopefully, if your job was automated, now you have some time, hopefully you can try to find a way to add more value to society. And hopefully that's the right mindset to look at.
Yeah, I was just at an expo Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. It's called the Pack Expo. It's like packaging, but it's like a lot of like automation and logistics and machinery. And I mean, you can automate anything you want. I mean, it might cost you a couple $1 million, but you can automate like anything you want. But at the end of the day, we're automating jobs that the people in my warehouse don't want to do. It's like packing variety packs and like taking things out of boxes, moving them into another box, closing that box, putting that, like, people are not amped up to do that particular job. Now, people want a job, they want to work, they want to make money, but they're going to be fine if they're like, yeah, great, Alex, you can move me over to like customer fulfillment or something.
Yeah, well, like I said, like they're finding something that better suits them, and now someone doesn't have to do the packing job, and now because time is now freed up for more people, and more people with free time with the right direction, overall positive.
Eric, I dig it, man. I really appreciate you doing this conversation. Where can people catch up with you?
Yeah, so if you're interested in ShopX, shopx.co, shopx.co, or if you're interested in dating, it'd be dating.io. But if you want to reach out personally, Instagram, ERICDMCHUGH, mainly because I like meeting people and we can do the voice now. Just, I don't like typing.
Oh, there you go, man. And you got a good LinkedIn,
Yeah.
too, if that's something you want to connect people on.
LinkedIn too.
Sweet, brother. I really appreciate you, man. Thank you for this conversation.
No, you're cool, dude. Thank you so much.
Appreciate it. Thanks, brother.